Mike always wanted the summit to have that kind of this bird of the feathers feel. But what SANS ICS Summit has always been about is like this mixture of family and kind of that birds of the feather vibe of let's bring the practitioners from the field and let's have them talk. And let's make sure a significant portion of them are the asset owners and operators that really have something in the fight. Let's really take these folks that come to our classes, learn these topics. One of the great things about SANS classes is it's material that you can immediately put into value and play when you return to the office. Let's go let them do it for a year or 2 years and then come back and share their lessons learned. And so that's what SANS ICS has always been unique about, and you'll find no other conference in the world like that.
Cybersecurity is becoming a really, really important thing in this space, and we're one of the first areas around the country that is doing it. So where do people go for information? Where do people go to find how they should do it? And the answer was, they don't. They talk to neighboring utilities, they talk to each other, they share information, but there's not an event where they kind of all come together and they hear from one entity or one utility, and that's where the summit started. So 20 years ago, practitioner focused, sharing stories on stage.
I think that the 20th instance of the summit really is almost a capstone, maybe a bit of a re-envisioning of what he wanted to do, because there's a big focus on solutions. And 20 years ago, when Mike was getting going in this space with Alan, they wanted to bring the community together to get ideas. I don't know, they knew they couldn't do it alone. They knew each person trying to solve it on their own wasn't efficient.
20 years of this, long before the classes, Mike's been doing that. And that was just the public part of Mike's work, was starting 20 years ago. He'd been doing the private piece of it long before that. So it really shaped a lot of the community. I'll say it shaped an interesting portion of my journey as well. Up until Mike's death, it was a lot of hype around ICS security. There was a lot of phishing emails are going to take down the grid and things that are not actually true. Right? We always knew there was real threats, and we were always chasing those real threats, but there's a lot of hype about the impact and scope of those threats.
He came in when no one was really talking about a lot of this, and that's true from every place he went. So really a leader in every one of those roles. When he was in naval side, and you started to see the movement from electromechanical and analog controls into kind of solid state and digital elements, he was one of the people that was asking questions of how could this be misused or made unavailable, and what would be the impacts to mission, and those same kinds of questions then moving into electric power, where engineers would design and build a system to do exactly what it's supposed to do. And he would be the hand up in the corner saying, what else can it do? So not just what happens if the electric system fails, which all of us would be very impacted by, but what if it's used as a weapon to damage equipment in the field, or damage load, or damage a generator? He had a way of asking questions and sort of driving that research or driving that way of thinking into people's minds that they'd never thought of before.
Mike was a lifetime servant, a patriot who had served our country, and in his role there he realized that the systems that were built, it was built to be resilient and really robust, but it wasn't built for cybersecurity. So he had this vision that we had to harden these incredible assets that controlled our daily life, that were important to our economy, to our safety. He knew that to do this well, to do it right, you needed the input from others, and he was just a great team builder. So his vision was to bring the community together to solve the problem for this threat that continues to evolve.
Looking over the next 20 years, that's something that I wish Mike was sitting right here next to me, to hear kind of his thoughts on where do we think we need to be. And you'll hear this in sporting terms, you'll hear it in other things. If you're a hockey fan, kind of skating to where the puck is gonna be, this is kind of that thought of where do we think we need to have significant movement to get ahead of where adversaries are, and that's really tough.
Yeah, Mike and SANS really are about trying to help the community. You try to do that by going first. We've been able to help countries from Estonia to Guam, all of our allied partners, and so being a partner, being a place that is willing to do what is needed, and that's really a way to honor Mike, but we have a critical problem to solve that's not going to go away anytime in the next couple of years, so this will be an ongoing thing. Talk openly and be trusted and learn from one another.
I think the largest impact and the importance of continuous work that the attendees this year can take away would be that working together is how we achieve our goals. One person and the work they do can truly make a difference, but the work we do is protecting critical infrastructure, which is one of the most important jobs in this country. My father, if you asked him, what it would be that got him here, and how he was able to do so much was because of all the people that supported him, stood alongside him, and spoke up with him. My dad would never say it was him alone, but it was everyone else alongside him that truly made the difference.